You're you're the hot seat today.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. First off, just very quickly about your book. It's Curse Thy Neighbour. It's stories from the trenches of people who complain or raise complaints about neighbourhood buildings, extensions, renovations, etc. And some of them, when you see his book or read his book, it's mind blowing what people do. The craziness of people.
Just one point about that. People who are normally logical, sensible, successful in life and so on, when those people are presented with the neighbour's proposal to extend their houses, their brains turn instantly into custard, and a particularly glutinous form of it. It's a phenomenon. There's all sense of proportion of logic. It's what I've been. It was very cathartic to write this book, because I've been subjected to so much of this lunacy. And as I was advised by a client who happened to be a publisher. You may know Julie Watts. Have you heard of her? She used to work for Penguin, and now as an independent publisher. She advised me to do the cartoons, and she was right. I think it gives the whole thing a lift.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It was fun to do.
Yeah. No, it's one of those fun books, I think, because you shake your head. You think, what are these people doing?
You'd think when people write this and they read through it that they realise that there's something totally lunatic about it, but they don't.
Yeah.
Full of self-importance. A lot of it is purely self-importance.
Yeah. Yep. And that's not going to go away.
No.
It's going to continue. Okay. So let's look at your target audience then.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked before that one of your target audiences are architects.
That'd be the big one, I think, the main one.
Yeah. And when we're talking architects here, you're talking just architects for residential type buildings, or you're talking about construction, architects for construction, like Fender Castellides or something like that. But maybe
right across the whole board.
Okay, because I'm sure they get the weird ones as well. But
my work has been largely residential, but I know I've collected these stories from other architects and lawyers and building surveyors. Just people. So many people just happen to talk on a social occasion. We mention what my job. They immediately pop up with the story.
Yeah. Yes. I suppose that's one thing that those stories can, with a community of architects, for example, ties them together.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity to have a chat about, the crazies out there, the crazy thinking or crazy activities. What about builders, residential builders?
Yes, I've heard a couple of stories from builders. One's in my book. I put one statement. This chap next door to him, he hadn't had any quarrel with him, but he was about to extend his own house, and his neighbour simply said, "I am offended, therefore I will object." But they'd never had a quarrel about anything. He just
wake up one morning offended.
Oh, and there's one in there. I think the one with the dog poo.
Oh yes, yeah, built on a vacant block of land.
That's about this.
That was the best one. I like that one.
I'll explain to the other. There's the law that according to the rule of adverse possession, which means, for instance, if your side boundary is a little bit on neighbour's side, if it stays there for 15 years of the fence, you can claim it. It's adverse possession, it's called. And this woman extended this right to the fact that for 15 years or more, she'd been taking a dog for a walk in a vacant block of land, and it took it on the land to do its business. Then the owners there quite legitimately put in an application to build, and she objected. Where am I going to take my dog to do his business? So I put the part in there that's according to the laws of adverse possession.
Funny. So where do these architects hang out?
Well, that's a good question. There's they don't seem to gather together in very much. Every couple of years at the Melbourne Architecture School, or School of Design, they call it now, there's a gathering for graduates, people, architects who graduated 50 years or more. There are quite a lot of people there.
Alumni.
When I actually sold a book to one of them, but now they've been asking, what about, they emailed us, have you got something to talk about, something to offer? And I said, I can offer them some loony stuff about all this, but based on my book. I haven't heard back from them, but I think that may be a good occasion. But generally, we don't seem to gather very much in great numbers.
Okay. Online, is there they typically LinkedIn, I'm assuming?
Well, there's the Architects Institute, which sends out messages now and again, and there's a registration board.
That'd be hard to get into.
Hard to get into that sort. I have emailed both of them about my book, but I never got a response. Which encouraging. Architecture School, I've sent it because that's something architects should know about, the kind of hiccup in the building process. But I got no reply there either.
Yeah, okay. What we'll do is we'll do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
And I'll just have to. Bob's going, so sorry. Going to have to mute you, Bob, and you too, Lynn. Sorry. But what I'm going to do is I'll go online and we'll go and do some research. Okay, be sure we know where they hang out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you'll find the architects will be hanging out on LinkedIn.
Oh, I know. Yes, it's very likely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll also think there'll be quite a few on Facebook groups as well.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, but let's go and have a look at that. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen. And I'll share my LinkedIn first. Okay, so you can see my LinkedIn screen now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do here is, let's look for them first, and I'll orientate yourself around LinkedIn, because I think as an author, you should have a place on LinkedIn as well. People like, for example, Lynn, with your book, I don't think you'll get a lot of traction in LinkedIn. Facebook is where you'll get more activity. But with Dan, I think LinkedIn, definitely, that's where architects go. Okay. So what I can do is just do a search for architect. Okay. There. And it will show up showing jobs. Lots of posts on architecture. And just show the people who, there's companies, architecture and planning, 21,000 followers. Architectural financial services, this is in America, but 2,000 followers. Lots of job positions and what have you. So we can actually go and search for jobs, posts, etc. But I don't want to search for jobs. I want to search for people. How many people are there who have architect typically in their job description or in their title, as their job title? There's on LinkedIn, there's only 4,890,000 of them. Okay, so that tells me there's a lot of them there.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I can now look for whether they're, let's just look for Australia. There's about 100,000 results from Australia.
Oh,
Okay, so there's quite a few there. So if you wanted to actually connect with an architect, sorry, I just went away from that. Again, go back to people. And we'll go back to Australia. We can even just do Victoria. Okay. There's 35,000 of them in Victoria.
it's pretty good.
Yeah. So you asked how can you get a following? If you do a search like that and find out, the list of architects, you can just go connect. It'll send a connection request to Wantine Lee. I can send it without a note, or I can add a note, which is just, in your case, it could be, if you click and add a note, hi, Daniel here. As an architect, a fellow architect, I thought it'd be good to connect. And if you do that, you'll get very good response rates. You'll actually build your following quite quickly.
Should I include what I'm connecting about?
No, not at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you're best to keep it simple.
Boss. Look, I'm in the middle. That's the boss.
I'm the boss.
Yes. Yes, the boss again.
I'm filthy rich. I'm a retired surgeon.
No, she's just filthy.
I'm filthy rich.
Come on.
There you go.
Look, let me concentrate. Please.
What are you doing? We don't need the money. I've got shitloads. Yeah, we don't need the money. Why are you?
We're having fun.
Still brain.
Look, she's got some problems.
No problems. I've got shitloads.
Will you let me do this, please?
What for?
Because I want to.
Okay, I'll go brush my teeth, and then I'm going to drag you out.
Not yet. Oh, my golly. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
She's on the slow road to dementia, I'm afraid.
Yes. Fortunately, I think we all are, aren't we? According to Rod, with our diets, that's a big thing.
Successful obstetrician too.
That's a pity. Yes. Anyway, so that tells me you've got a very fertile ground with architects.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. And because you've got this common story about, the weird, curse thy neighbour stories, you can get a lot of engagement at that level. And I think architects would definitely be the one I'd look at on LinkedIn. Sorry, if you're going to do just one platform, just do LinkedIn. Okay, I'm now going to just have a look at Facebook. Okay, so I'm going to go into groups.
Yeah.
And I search groups. Architecture and design group, that'll do. There is a lot in Facebook. This architecture and design, there's 919,000 members.
Oh my God, yeah.
Another architecture and design, 188,000. Architecture and design ideas. Okay, so let's architecture, and let's just see if it'll do. We can narrow it down to Australia. So we just do the groups. Architecture Australia, 3,000 members. Oh, it's 170. You wouldn't worry about it. Architecture and design is 1.1 thousand. Architecture Uprising, 45,000 members.
Hmm.
Architecture around the world, 330,000. So if I look at it, I think you've got, yeah, I'd start with LinkedIn and then move over to Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you set anything up on Facebook yet?
I know I'm on Facebook, but I don't know much about how to use it though.
Okay. Let's start with LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of sharing. I did a bit of research this morning. I actually sent you a connection request too, Dan. This is you, Daniel Meszaros.
Yep.
Okay. I would be, your LinkedIn profile needs a fair bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you should have a profile picture there. You should have a background image. You shouldn't call yourself Danny. I'd make it Daniel. Use your proper name.
Yeah.
Fill out, have all your contact information. You've got 172 connections anyway already.
Yeah.
You've got, you've featured one thing, which is your book, which is great. But yeah, there's a fair bit of work that you need to do on your profile. Okay. Now I'm going to switch back to my profile, and I'll show you why that's important to get all of that done. Okay. I'll just go back to mine. What you're seeing here is not the profile; it's actually the working feed of the profile. So if I click on there, this is actually my profile, and this is how others see me. When I send out a connection request, if they want to look at my profile, it'll come back and look at this. Okay, so you can see I've got a photo, an image, a headshot. I've got a background image there.
Not showing up here.
Oh, sorry, I've got the wrong. I didn't share this tab.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry. Okay. You can see I've got my photo. I've got the background image. I've got about, it's just a brief description. In your case, it's, a retired, architect who become author, and you're fascinated with the funny stories that you hear around with neighbourhood disputes and complaints and what have you, So just a little interesting snippet about you, but also mention that you are actually an architect. Okay? I think that it's important. When you set it up, you can also set up all your contact info here. Now, I don't think you've got a website, have you? Or do you?
I used to, but gave it up. It wasn't doing me any good, but I think I have to get it done again with a different. It just said Daniel Meszaros Architect, but
yeah, if you're not using it, I wouldn't, and it's not for business, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
At this stage, you could get by without it.
Yeah, good.
Just like Lynn could get by without a website. Maryland and Rodney, though, they're different, and that's why it's going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks for them. So, but having your contact information, as much as you want to expose, because you don't have an office address, you live working from your home, you might not want to put an office address in there at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just handy to have all of those sorts of things completed, because when people search and you put out a connection request and try to build your following, that's when people will see it and go, oh, hang on, it's not very complete, I'm not going to bother following this person, and I won't connect. Okay. There's another important section is your about section, and this is where you can write quite a big piece, a little bit about your history, but talk a lot about your book in the about section.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you've already got featured articles. This is where you put content in, and yeah, it just, you know, where your education, you know, you fill all of those sorts of fields out. Yeah, and it's just having a more complete profile will get you a lot more followers. Okay, so give you an idea, I've got 11,716 followers. Okay. And that's without buying any followers. I don't buy followers. I don't believe in doing that. But it's from when I post content, I always get followers, where I get engagement with the content. Okay. So once you've had your profile filled out, if you click on this little icon at the top here, if I just click on that, this goes into a feed. This is where you typically put a post, you know, so share your thoughts, put an image, etc. on there. And you can share that's where you just drop your posts in. And this is the sort of page that you keep open most of the time. You hardly ever look at your profile once it's set up. Okay. But with this, you can actually see some information, you know. For example, I can see, you know, over the last 90 days or the last 28 days, it's not going to behave for me. Show results. No, sorry, it's going to stay at 90 days. But over the last 90 days, 424 people have come along and looked at my profile.
Oh, good.
You know,
Yeah.
So, and I get lots of connection requests. I can even see who has actually looked at my profile. So, you know, I can go, okay, you know, so you can actually see that. I can actually see, if I go back to here, I could go look at post impressions. I can see what activity I've been getting. So over the last 7 days, my posts have received 898 impressions. And they've actually gone out to 404 people have actually seen them. Different people have seen them. So some people have seen them twice. Okay. And I can actually see what's been the most top performing posts. Okay. Not all of them are mine. I've mentioned before the difference between curated and versus content you actually create. Okay. This post is somebody else's post I shared. And this is, you know, because I'm a big on, you know, buy Aussie, buy Australian, and promoting Australia wherever possible. This is a video, it made the mainstream news actually, an Australian basketballer scoring this, you know, winning points at a basketball game in America. Okay, so you can see I've got 250 impressions, some reactions, and all I did was, you know, forward or reposted a comment, but somebody else's comment post. Okay, to show you how that works, here's one. Ian Stevens, he's one of our authors too. He's actually featured in Books Online Australia. He's an author who earns money from speaking from stage, as well as running training events based around his books in major corporates. Okay, so yeah, so he's got to build a big business on top of, or as a result of, the books he's written. He's got about 6 or 7 books now. As always, when I see an author that I will work with, like if I see a post from you, Dan, or I see posts from Lynn, you know, I like, comment and share. Okay, and that's what we should be doing with each other. And with his, you know, I can just repost it. You know, I can repost it instantly. So if I do that, I don't leave a comment, and it just appears in my feed. So I'll just do that. And it appears as a post in my feed now. It probably won't show here, but no, the feed's moved on too quickly. Yeah, but you can get things that are interesting posts. You can just share it, and that's how you can get you're basically borrowing other people's content. Okay, and it's just a quick and easy way of getting a post out there, getting activity. Okay. Another area you'll see at the top here, we have my network. If I click on that, there's up in the top area here. This is if somebody reaches out and asks to connect, it appears at the top here in this section here. I actually had about 4 people this morning, which I approved the connection of to connect, and one other I actually declined. Okay, but LinkedIn also provides us with some people that they recommend connecting with. This is really, really handy. So this is, for example, people you may know based on recent activity. Okay, so that might be where I've commented, liked, or shared somebody else's post, or I've viewed a post or opened a post. Okay. And I can actually now reach out to these people if I want to very easily. And so what I do is go, even though this person, Avril Harris, has 29 mutual connections, so she's just got experience Gold Coast. I go, nah, I'm not. I only want to connect with people who are in my target audience. Okay, like Alex Quigley works in education. Okay, so he's a teacher. Nah, they're not really part of my world. The world man, copy or die. So the word man. So okay, so he's a copywriter. So yeah, they're in my sphere. So I just can go and have a look at them. Right, the funny, my first ever course launching soon. So he's got 100,000 followers in the UK. So he's not in Australia, but that's all right. He's got lots of followers. Whoops, he's disappeared. No. I was going to go connect, request him. Anyway, we'll move on. We miss him. So other thing with Alex Quigley, you could see in the background, he doesn't have a header image there. I very rarely would connect with anybody who doesn't have a background header image. And if they don't have a headshot or an image in the center here, I won't connect with them at all, even if they are in my world or one of my target audiences. So let's just go down here and show some connections. Professor and Director of the Child Light East, no, that's not one of mine. CEO of the Tax Factor, no. Human Capital Executive, no. TEDx speaker. A TEDx speaker typically will have a book. So I'll just put a connect request out to there. Now, the next section is, these are people I went to university with. And, I went to Sydney University as well as the New South Wales Institute of Technology. So it's now turning around saying, well, these people are from Sydney Uni, you may know them, even though it was a long time ago when these are way too young for me to know. But they may be very much working in, he's a lecturer in publishing. Okay, that's interesting. We'll put that in there. Connect with her. Yeah, nobody there. People you may know in Greater Melbourne area, so they're just knowing from general location. Okay, he's author of Hush. Okay, so she's a speaker, a TEDx speaker and an author. Let's connect. A marketing manager. Yeah, because I do work with marketers. Head of School of Trinity Grammar. No, that's just a teacher. 10 or 20 years in lean manufacturing, branding and marketing specialist. Yeah, no, they're not sort of people I want to connect with. So again, you can see, like here, go down here a little bit further. The people in book and periodical publishing industry, you may know, Todd Reckner, head of production publishing. There's no way I'd send a connection request to Todd Reckner because he doesn't have a profile photo or a background image. That's why it's important to get those things in place on your profile. Okay, this is Macmillan Publisher. He's with Macmillan. Doesn't have a background image, but he's with Macmillan. Yeah, I'll send a connection request out there to them. Okay. So that's a sort of how you start to build up your following within LinkedIn. Okay, get your profile page complete and looking professional and sounding professional, and then you can start to seek and get more connections and start to build your connections. Okay, there's some other little tricks I use in the notifications area. You can set up, when you set up your Facebook or your LinkedIn, you can go into notifications, and you can stipulate whether you want to be notified if somebody's having a birthday, if somebody's having a work anniversary, or they're starting a new job. Okay, so I click all of those notifications, and you can see these are the people who that LinkedIn is now notifying me that I should be interested in, example. So this is just somebody's comment on a post that I've done before, so don't worry about that. So here's, Tony Neal's 15 years at Wellbeing Health Retreats. So if I just say congratulations, I actually give it, and they even suggest some words that you can say, well done, Tony. And I just hit comment. That just pushes me up in the algorithm, in LinkedIn's algorithm. So my posts are now going to be seen more often in front of Tony. So he's going to get, it's sort of building up the algorithm and building up the activity that LinkedIn sees, and sees you as a more valuable contributor and more of an expert. And it's as simple as doing that. So I just do that every morning. I usually set aside, 15 minutes every morning to go through doing these things. So it's another one, Christy Collier, new position, executive general manager, so, amazing. Well done. Okay. Now there is another one here. Here's Rodney's. Okay. Rodney put a post up this morning, and I put a comment on it. Okay, let's just open that post up and I'll show you. Okay, here's Rodney's post about healing hearts, and it's about heart health and what we eat and the time restrictions and what have you. So I just put a little note up there, ask him a question: are there scientific studies behind the benefits of time restricted eating? And he responded. So what that's done is lifted me in our LinkedIn's algorithm. It's also lifted Rod's position in the algorithm as well. So his posts will become more visible in his feed with his connections. Okay. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why we do that know, like, and share with people. Okay. So and that's what Rod's done there. And he's now responded to it. Okay, which I'll go and read later. The other thing I do holiday or birthdays. That's another one where I get notified. And you'll see here I've got Jenny Dallas and 9 others having a birthday today. When you've got 11,000 followers, you get quite a few birthdays every day. People having birthdays in that list. Okay, so you can see that just gives me a list of all the people whose birthday it is today. Oh, wow, all of these people who get April Fool's Day things going. So what I do with birthdays, at the beginning of the year, I create, I used Chat GPT to create a special little birthday message that's just unique. Okay. And it's just happy birthday, sending warmest birthday wishes your way. May your special day be filled with laughter, love, and cherished moments. Thank you for sharing your kindness with the world. Okay, so I just copy that, and I just go say happy birthday to this person. Boom, happy birthday. Paste it in. It's done. Do it to George. Done. Yeah, within 30 seconds, I've wished half a dozen people, or nine, in this case, 9 people I could wish happy birthday, with a unique message, not just the standard. If I'd have just done the standard happy birthday message that comes with LinkedIn, that's all it says is happy birthday. So this person, Janie Dallas, would get a lot of those. And so by also adding a special message to it, I now stand out in their eyes. Okay. What happens a lot, and I can't show you at the moment, I get a lot of messages where people will turn around and respond saying, oh, thank you, appreciate the message. Oh, okay, appreciate the message. It might not be right. Oh, that was lovely to connect. Okay. Okay, that's the one I sent to George. Let me find one where they respond. A lot of people actually respond and say, oh, thank you. Here we go, Miriam Keane. Miriam said, oh, thank you. And I responded with it's my pleasure, which was one of these pre-made messages from LinkedIn. Just clicked on that and then just responded to her. And again, it just lifts me up in the algorithm very easily and quickly. So definitely do that when it comes to your LinkedIn. And that's a great way of building following and getting getting visibility out there. Okay. Now with LinkedIn, the key thing with LinkedIn is it's a place where you can establish your authority, and they look for thought leaders. And the LinkedIn's algorithm is all about presenting thought leaders. They really want to focus in on thought leaders. And so that's where, as a thought leader, that's where you put, snippets about, in your case, Dan, interesting things found in building, like the dildo story, the toilet pan on the roof, on the top of the chimney, those sorts of things, as well as seeding it with comments about, your book. And what also you should do is, let me go back to notifications. I'll just show you something. I'll go to Rodney's thing again. Okay. Now he's got this little image there. With LinkedIn, if you put links in there into your post to your book, it doesn't work very well. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find Rod's link to Rod's book, and I'm going to paste that link into his as a response to his post. I've done that a number of times to you, haven't I, Lynn? Now I just put that there. You can see an image now. That's the link to Books Online Australia, where the book is. If I hit that in the comment section, there. It's now Rod hasn't put it there. Somebody else has. It makes it more likely people will click on that and go through and buy the book. Okay. And that's why if I see posts on your books about your books, I always try and drop it into the comment section, and that way an image of the book will appear, and it's just a link to where to go and buy it. Okay. So yeah, definitely focus in on LinkedIn. Dan, I think that's really where you're going to get your joy, and it's filling out this your profile. That area there would be where I recommend you focus in on, just to start with. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. Okay. So Dan, how was that? Got any questions on that?
Well, I'm not too good on the technological bits of this, but I think I can get a bit of help. The daughter of my favorite client lives just up the street with him, and she works on computers. That's her thing. She'll help me.
Yeah. Well, once you start with that, with LinkedIn and what have you, it's actually not that difficult. Technically, it's about sort of filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
Putting your own information in there. Okay. And then once you start to do a few posts and practice with it, it becomes second nature.
Oh, sure.
So now, Lynn, if you'd like to unmute yourself, which is the little corn cob down the bottom left-hand, or the microphone in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yep.
There you go. Yep, you're back. We can hear you now. Okay. Yeah. So did you find that helpful as well, Lynn?
Absolutely. And, I've made some notes here that I need to keep going and filling in. Trouble is, with all this rain we're getting up here, it's not time.
Oh, yes. It's a bit damp up there. It's a bit mouldy.
Sure is.
Yeah. Lynn lives in Queensland, Dan, and it's got all of that rain up there.
Oh, we weren't quite so bad just right here on the Sunshine Coast, but yeah.
Yeah, we get a bit, yes. So
the people that we used to visit out west, did our volunteering, they've had a terrible time, so we're trying to work things out for them.
Yes, yeah. I feel for all the animals as well.
Just dreadful.
Yeah. There's not much high ground out there for them to get up to.
Flat as can be.
Very flat. Yeah. So, so Dan, start filling that out. Let me know when you've got somewhere, and I'll go in and have a look, and give you some feedback on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for Lynn, if you just you just need to do a basic one, I think, and position yourself as the author. Okay, and make it, even if you have it looking like, because you've got your Facebook page or Facebook profile, and make it as the professional profile, and if you have it looking similar, you'll end up having prospective readers will feel more comfortable about buying the book. Okay, now particularly because one of the things that we're going to be looking at in the coming weeks is also getting your book into libraries. Okay. Now, when you start to do the library push, the things that they're going to do is they're going to go, well, you send out that one sheet or the sell sheet. Remember, we talked about that last week, and that's up in the membership site area. If you send out the sell sheet, they're actually going to then, they might do, or they're highly probable do some research. Okay, so who's this Daniel Meszaros? You know, who's this Lynn Caverhill person? Okay, then they're going to look at, you know, oh, okay, so they'll just do it, you know, search. They'll go on, look, they'll go onto LinkedIn, they'll go onto Facebook, the two prime ones that they'll look at. And so, you know, having that, presenting that face at a, you know, a professional level, but without, you don't have to be as extensive as I have, because I've been using it extensively for a long time. But, you know, ticking the basic boxes, you know, making sure that, you know, it looks complete. You're talking about the book, you know, talking about being an author, you know, when they look at do the research, they go, oh yeah, tick, tick. And they're more likely to turn around and place an order for your books.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But without it, I think you'll struggle to get orders for books. Okay. So, and I think for both of your books, will go well in libraries. Lynn, you've already got it in libraries, some libraries, haven't you?
I don't know where else.
Oh, okay. But you still got, you know, that's a good start, a local library. But, you know, you know, and I think Dan, your book could go in the university library.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, there's definitely be one in there. And if you could get a lecturer sort of on board, and that's one of the reasons for you connecting up with architectural, not just architects, but architectural students, as well as architectural lecturers, professors of architecture. They're the ones who could actually champion your book as well, very nicely, particularly the lecturers. Because I'm sure they'd have somewhere in the course about dealing with objections and dealing with VCAT and all of those sorts of things. Because that'd be just an occupational hazard.
Actually, in my case, I've shown that the dean of the architecture school of design, he has my a draft of the book, not the finished one. I did approach him about it. He likes it, but it hasn't gone any further.
Okay, yeah, you know,
He was a student at the same time I was.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I would back it up now with a signed copy rather than a draft, and sign it, just to cement that. Connect with him through LinkedIn. You know, and you know, whenever you see a post from him, make you know, respond to it. You know, engage with him. Okay, but also, as the dean, he probably doesn't do a lot of lecturing.
Probably not.
It's the actual lecturers. And I'm sure there's bound to be one when you start to dive into the School of Architecture and Design. It's at Melbourne University, I'm assuming.
Yes.
There's bound to be one in there that deals with, you know, has a segment of their lecture or lecture series would be on dealing with VCAT.
Yeah, there is a subject called professional practice there.
Oh, look out, incoming, Dan, look out.
Oh no, oh God.
I'm the boss, not
Yes,
him.
we know.
I'm filthy rich, not him.
Come on, sister, let me finish it.
Okay. Well, we're just finishing up anyway, Dan, so